And some members of Creech's legal team, well, they were there at the prison today, but not inside as witnesses. They were there joining the small group who showed up to voice their opposition to capital punishment, which usually happens anytime an execution is held. The opinion of the death penalty, whether or not a person should be put to death for killing another person, is the lowest it's been in the last 50 years. Gallup has been tracking this through polling since 1936. The number of Americans in favor of it peaked in 1994 at 80%. In 2023, just 53% supported the death penalty. And today, a small part of the 44% of those against it used this highly publicized moment to make their case at the correctional facility south of Boise. They showed up just before 9 a.m., parking just off the pavement along Pleasant Valley Road. Most arrived as individuals to gather together in a gravel lot inside the gate of the Idaho State Correctional Complex. Buffeted against the wind and surrounded by members of the media, including a live stream,
Mr. Creech was sentenced to death in procedures that are now clearly unconstitutional.
The group would soon number a little more than a dozen.
I wish it was more. I think it would make a bigger impact if it was more people.
Their reason for being here was obvious, but not absolute.
He doesn't deserve.
While most were strongly opposed to the death penalty,
Why do we come out today? Because I believe very strongly in the sanctity of human life.
And actually, it's biblical, you know, thou shalt not kill.
some weren't so sure.
It's really hard for me to take a stand on it. I just don't know how I feel about it.
Like Brian Rhodes,
I have not.
who isn't much of a protester,
First time.
but sought out the company of others to sort out his subjective struggle.
Sometimes I think that maybe, but then there's other times I'm like, I'm not sure this is what the maker wanted us to do. I don't know.
You are a religious person?
Yes,
Okay. So obviously that weighs on this.
a little bit. So you struggle with that component versus the justice component.
But you felt enough to come out here.
I did. So I guess I'm out here just to kind of support the people that are out here.
Like Jan Powell,
This is probably the first time that I've been publicly active about the death penalty.
who, as a Catholic, worries capital punishment is just continuing an unbreakable chain.
If we're killing because somebody is killed, that doesn't stop anything. It just keeps going, and now we're culpable for the person that we've killed.
Which is why Ralph Mellon is out here again, like he was 12 years ago, the last time Idaho had an execution.
You know, no question that Mr. Creech has done some bad things, but I don't want to, use the state's name and kill back again.
Like everyone else who showed up, Ralph had no illusions of impacting today's proceedings, but future ones.
Well, nationally, I think we're getting more discussion about this issue.
As for the other side of this issue, well, that can be found on the other side of this barbed wire fence.
I'm shocked, to be honest with you.
One man standing solo.
I came out here to be a supporter, to support in what I believe,
He wanted his opinion
I
known,
understand
but
that.
not his face.
I understand that, he's a gentle guy now, he's older, but he's suspected of killing 42 people. And then everybody, wants to spare his life. How about the victims? How about the victims' families? All my beliefs is, if you take a life, there should be some consequences. So it's my belief, and that's why I showed up here today.
Amazing grace.
And as the scheduled hour arrived, nobody was aware of what was or what wasn't happening on the inside. But that didn't matter. And as they slowly slipped away, seemingly as they came, they were comforted knowing they weren't alone in their reason for showing up.
To talk about other ways for individuals to pay for their crimes other than with their lives.
It'll make no difference, but more difference, is make your voice known to the politicians themselves.
As we mentioned, the national conversation seems to be having a slight impact. Last year, there were 24 executions in just 5 states, the majority of them taking place in Texas and Florida. 2023 also saw only 21 people sentenced to death, according to the Death Penalty Information Center. 29 states have either abolished the death penalty or put it on pause for the time being.